Hi everybody, Ryan here. So we're talking about part 2 of the JoJo Bizarre Adventures musical references. So again, we're going to talk about the author and his love for music. So we're going to start off with Joseph Joestar. So in Battle Tendency, Joseph is designed after the Beatles song Come Together. It's pretty obvious because we can see that the author has a huge love for the Beatles and just 70s and 80s music in general. So he definitely brought this with Come Together. But then now we start talking about the character of Lisa Lisa. So Lisa Lisa is the love interest of Joseph, and she's named after the band Lisa Lisa and the Cult Jam, who had a few hits in the early and mid 80s. So now we start talking about Loggins and Messina. It's pretty obvious who Loggins is. Bet you don't know who Messina is. But when we start talking about these two brothers, they're named after the powerhouse of Loggins and Messina. So now we're going to segue from Kenny Loggins and Jim Messina into Caesar Antonio Zeppeli. So Zeppeli attacks his opponents with lights and bubbles. So this could be a possible musical reference to the Led Zeppelin song, Stairway to Heaven. Probably one of the most listened to songs out there. So that's not going to be the last Zeppelin reference. But let's talk about the next one, which is Susie Q. So Susie Q is named after musician Suzi Quatro. But it may also come from the song Susie Q by Dale Hawkins, but was also famously covered by CCR. So with one of the strangest characters and with one of the best beatdowns and one-punchers, we have my boy Wired Beck. If you can't tell who Wired Beck is named after, it's pretty obvious. He's inspired after Jeff Beck, and his album, one of my favorites growing up, Wired. So next up, we're talking about the Four Pillarmen. The Four Pillarmen consist of the four big baddies in here, and we're talking about Wamu, Isidisu, Santana, and then the final one, and the big baddie of them all, Cars. And these are named after some of the four biggest bands in the 80s of Santana, Wham, AC/DC, and lastly, the Cars. So this next one is Smokey Brown, and Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles can see this one. But it's the mix of two massive artists of Smokey Robinson and my boy, the King of Soul, James Brown. So now we're talking about an artifact in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and this is the Red Stone of Aja. Well, this is named after the song and the album by the group Steely Dan. So leaning into the artifact and location side, we're talking about Air Supply Island. Well, this is a reference to the pop rock duo Air Supply. So as a final little tribute, we see Joseph in the final chapter listening to a cassette of the Beatles' Get Back. This is a nice little way to end it, but it won't be the last time that we see this Walkman coming in. But I just want to say I appreciate every one of you guys and thank you for this amazing year.